Hey guys, something hit me the other day. Just kind of wanted to, express what I'm thinking, and you know, dived into politics a lot more lately in the last 3 years. Kind of wondering why more people don't. When we were growing up, at least when I was growing up, it was the '90s. Everybody told you, don't talk politics. If you brought something up, they always tell you don't do it, don't talk about it, leave it alone, be a good little boy, do as I say, not as I do, type thing. Nobody wanted to discuss policies and politics. And why is that? Why do they not want you to? To me, discussing politics is the only way we're going to agree, the only way we're going to be united. We may not agree on everything, but that's where compromise comes in. That's where discussion happens to find the root causes, the root reasons of what we want, what we don't want. Um, but how do you know where you fall as far as policies and different things that are discussed every day and things that are affecting your life, things that are going to affect your kids' lives, your grandkids' lives, and everybody? How do we know what to, who to follow, who to back, who to vote for, who to, put in office if we don't discuss these things? And they work for us. Everybody that we put in office work for the people. They work for us. They should do what we tell them to do. And if we don't talk amongst ourselves as far as what should be done, what we need to have done, doesn't matter what the topic is, whether it's immigration or abortion or, equal rights or whatever you want to, whatever topic you want to talk about, it doesn't matter what it is. If we don't discuss it and decide what's right and what should happen, how are they supposed to know? We're giving them too much power by not discussing politics, and it's disgusting. It's literally hit me recently in the last couple of weeks that this was their plan all along. They didn't want people talking about it. They wanted us to not discuss these things because then they'd be held responsible when we all stood together, united, as we're supposed to be, and told them to do their job that we put them there to do. Doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on. Doesn't matter what topic we talk about. Doesn't matter what it is. If we discuss amongst ourselves what we see to be right or just or whatever the case may be, then they're going to have to listen to us because we're united. They didn't want us to be united because this has been a plan going on for a long time to divide us and destroy what we have here. We have documents as far as Constitution, Bill of Rights, that allows for everybody to have the same rights no matter who you are, what part of this country you're at. States' rights are a little different. They get to decide for themselves on some things, but you have a set of laws that they're unalienable laws. And when they don't want us discussing it, they don't want us talking about it, it's because they don't want you to know what they're doing and what they're taking away from you. It's plain and simple. And it's a harsh reality that hit me. When I was younger, people used to tell me, "Oh, don't talk about politics, don't do this, don't discuss these things. Nobody wants to hear it." I don't think that was right. I think people really were uncomfortable at some of the topics. But since we didn't, most people, they distract us with other things, sports and movies, entertainment. They distracted us from politics. Politics is the most important thing in your life in this country. You might not see it, you might not think it, but it is, because we are the beacon of freedom around the world. We have to discuss these things so that we can stay free, because they're trying to make us not free, period. That's their goal, is control. They want to take things away, they want to take our money, they want to distribute it to where they want it to be, not where we think it should go. having all these, you know, examples kind of helps a little bit. You know, I had many people tell me when I was younger, you know, don't talk about politics. I really wish I wouldn't have listened. I really wish I was, you know, in the same mindset I am now today, because that's not what we need to be doing. We need to be talking about them. We need to do it civilly. You know, it's very emotional for a lot of these topics, you know, that we bring up and we talk about. You know, there's no gray area there. It can be very emotional, and so tempers get flared up, and you know, arguments happen. But if we could have civil discourse about these topics, you know, maybe we can come to compromises or understandings, or maybe even open some people's eyes to things that they didn't know because they haven't talked to anybody. They listen to a couple people say something. Oh yeah, I agree with that. Do you? Or you just don't know the other side, or the other side. Sometimes there's not just two sides. Sometimes there's three or four or five. You know, and that's why we need to have these discussions. We need to talk as the people, because all of these politicians, no matter city, state, federal, they work for us. Their salaries are paid by our taxes. We pay them. They need to do what we tell them to do. So if we don't talk, they're going to do what they choose. From what I've seen, even just these last 3 years, they don't know how to make up, you know, they don't know how to do the right thing. They don't know how to make the right decisions that's best for us. Yeah, there are other countries that need our help, but we need our help too. You know, there are a lot of people in this country that need a lot of help before we start sending all these millions and billions and trillions to other places. I get tired sometimes because, you know, there is a lot of hatred out there. There's a lot of anger out there, you know, and people don't want to listen. And that's part of, you know, the conversations that we need to have to come to these agreements or these compromises and become united. We have to discuss these things. And when you allow your emotions to get the better of you, and you just yell and vent, and you're not listening to anybody else's, you know, experiences, where their standings are on different topics, you know, and that makes them feel left out. And when people feel left out, they do things they usually don't do, or they wouldn't do if, you know, they felt someone was actually listening to them and taking in consideration their views, their histories, you know, what they want for the future at the same time. No, we're not all going to get everything we want. That's not possible. You know, that's why I'm talking about compromise. So I'm talking about, you know, working together and finding middle grounds. Because when you only say, oh, I want this, this, and this, and there's no room for you to budge. Well, if people don't agree, then you're gonna shut them out. You know, you're not gonna listen. You have to be flexible a little bit. That's what makes this country so great. Is, you know, people have been flexible, and we've changed. You know, we've moved the goalposts, as people say. You know, we've changed over hundreds of years that we've been here, and for the better for most things. You know, not everything's been great. You know, we're still growing. We're a young country compared to a lot of these, you know, nations around the world. We're very young, but we are the greatest one on the planet. Period. There's not another place that you would want to be, or you'd go. If you didn't like it here and there was a better place out there, you'd find a way to get there. That's what people do to come here. You know, millions of people every year try to be here because we're free, and the rights and the privileges that we have as Americans, they want, because they don't have them most places. You know, there are some places that are close, you know, that have some of our liberties, but nobody has what we have in the United States of America. Nobody. And that's why so many people want to come here. So basically what I'm wanting is people to calm down a little bit, talk about things. Don't shy away from it. You know, shy away when people attack. You know, that's not the way to talk. That's not the way to have conversation and discourse. You don't attack somebody. When you attack them, that shows that you're not listening, you don't care, and it's all about you. It's not all about you. It's about all 320 plus million of us. And then the ones that are coming after. Our children, our grandchildren, great grandchildren, people that are immigrating here. You know, there are a lot of people that we get to make the decisions for how their lives are going to be, and they're not even here yet. You got to take that responsibility seriously, and so many people haven't. You know, I was kind of reminded of it the other day. Not going to mention names because, you know, for one, it's not even a bad thing, but, you know, I'm not about, you know, calling people out. But there's a political conversation going on a Facebook page, and guys are, hey, we shouldn't even be talking about politics. We should be arguing baseball. And that kind of summed it up for me. And I even told him thanks. You know, I needed that. I needed to see that. That was great because that fits this video perfectly. People don't want to talk politics, and that's sad because that's what dictates what we get, what we don't get, the help that goes to our schools, our kids, you know, our streets, everything. You know, taxes that we pay. You know, if we don't talk about it, who gets to make these decisions? A couple people in a closed, you know, boardroom. That's not what this country's about. We the people have the power. And if we keep shying away from using that power, it's not going to get any better for any of us. You know, last night was a wonderful, wonderful day. My neighborhood showed, it was like 4.5 hours constant of fireworks. It was going to almost 2 a.m. I mean, just, I closed the door because I had enough. I was tired. You know, I worked all day too. So, you know, it was a reminder that we are free. But it was another reminder that we have to fight to stay that way and to protect that for our next generations to come. You know, I don't want to be, knock on wood, hopefully I'll be there. I don't want to be 90 and my great grandkids are running around not understanding the things that we have today because they don't get those liberties, they don't have those freedoms, they don't have those rights. I don't want to do that. I don't want to be the storyteller, you know, telling them of how it used to be. I want them to be able to have the same rights and fight for these freedoms just like we can. But if you choose not to, you know, then you're leaving it up to everybody else. And that's what they wanted a long time ago. That was kind of the start of, you know, this tyranny crap that's going on right now. If you weren't talking about it, if you weren't in the discussion, you're not going to know. And then you're going to hear about it once they make the decisions. Because you let other people decide who's going to make the laws for you and didn't have any input. Well, this country is built on the people having that input. You know, those people that are in office represent us. They're supposed to do what we tell them to do as a collective. But how do we get to that collective without talking about it? Can't. Just can't. It's the greatest country on the planet. We are the freest people in the world. And that's why so many people around the world celebrate with us when we celebrate our freedom. People of Hong Kong wave American flags because they understand what that stands for. It stands for freedom. It stands for something that they don't have. But they desire to have it. I think it was Dubai last night, the tallest building in the world. They lit it up like the American flag last night. Oh my God, it was beautiful. Beautiful. And why? Because they understand the freedom and what Independence Day represents. Yeah, 1700s, 1600s, 1800s, they were all different time. If you want to argue about the past, where's that going to get us? Nowhere. It's not going to get us anywhere. It's not going to make things the way you want it. It's not going to change what happened. Nothing can be changed what happened in the past. It's done. It's written. Tear down a statue doesn't change that man was who he was, did what he did, or woman. You know, most of them are men that we're arguing about here, though. Doesn't change anything. Nothing. But the reminders of where we came from, how far we've come as a country, the rest of the world admires. They want, not all. I mean, obviously, China don't want it. The people do, but governments don't. They want control of their people. They want control of the money. They want control and power. That's what they want. But we can't let that happen here. So we have to discuss these things. No matter how difficult it is, no matter how uncomfortable it may be. That's just the way this world is now. There is no more let everybody else decide for you. We can't do it that way anymore. So let's talk about things. Anything you want to talk about? Comment. Let's talk. Let's be civil. Let's just talk about things. What do we got to lose? Got a lot to lose. Because if we keep letting others decide for us, this country has the most to lose. And I sure don't want to lose any of my freedoms, my liberties, my rights. I love being able to go where I want, when I want. Do the things that I want to do. Live where I want. Heck, I've lived in 8, 9 states now. I enjoy that freedom. We've got a huge, beautiful country. A lot of different places with a lot of different types of, everything. How's it going to be if some states secede, Is that the right word? Sorry. Late night last night. How would it be? I keep seeing people talk about breaking up this country, creating other countries. That's not what we should be looking at. We should be looking at how we preserve freedom. And with that freedom comes responsibility. Not just the people that sign up for the military, not just the people that get into politics and do, the bidding, I guess you could say, for the people. It comes back to us as people, as we, the people. It comes back to us. It's our responsibility to make sure we have what we were given from our ancestors. Hope you guys take this seriously. Hope you guys look into the different things that are happening. Learn. That's the best thing that I can tell you. Learn about what your rights are, what these bills are that they keep trying to pass, all the things that are on the ballot. Research them before you go vote. But most importantly, let's vote. I learned that. There's not going to be another election that I won't vote in, at least nationally. I've moved a lot, so local ones, it's hard for me to decide for other people when I don't feel like I'm going to be there very long. But if you don't vote, you are letting other people speak for you. Now, like I said, you may not get what you want. It happens. It's part of life. But if you voice your opinion, make your vote count by placing it, then you did what you could do. But by shying away from the conversation and not voting because you don't think it will matter, you are letting your life be dictated by others. And that's not what this country's about. It's not what we were built on. It's not where we should be going for the future. God bless you guys. I know it's the 5th of July, but enjoy these freedoms.